Okay, I think that our next guest, in a way, typifies the attitude I think that a lot of people who are perceived as having handicaps really want, how they want to be perceived. This is Henry Holden. Henry will tell us about what happened to him. He was crippled by polio. He has gone on. Has not phased his ambitions to be a comedian and an actor. He makes fun of his handicap, and I welcome you here.
Thank you.
Do you play clubs?
Yes, I do. Matter of fact, by the end of this year, I'll be in almost every state of the union. I've been to Colorado a few weeks ago. I leave to Michigan tomorrow, and
now you've just been introduced, and folks have so far have only seen you from the top. But you have what, braces on your leg?
I have one leg brace. I have a left leg brace on my left leg. I used to have two braces, and I used to be confined to a wheelchair. I caught polio when I was 4 years old in the epidemic in '52, and then I had numerous operations where now I just have one leg brace and crutches. And you get around on crutches and perform on crutches. Right. The two things about the career I'm interested in as an actor, right? Have there been situations when you have literally just been infuriated because you wouldn't be considered for something because you're on crutches? It seems to me your goal is just to put handicapped people in the mainstream of our perception. Right. Piece of the pie.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens. It's inside. You got to give a front or whatnot. I go over to an agent and he'll say, "Well, what happened to you?" I said, "Nothing happened to me." So it's other people's attitudes, how they view somebody with a disability.
But how do you prevent yourself from getting angry at that? I mean, that predictable response. Now, peg leg, nothing got to him, but as a young guy starting up in an area of being an actor, right?
Well, I guess going back into first, let's go to my background.
Okay, go ahead.
Maybe that's where we get it. So after I caught polio, I went to school for a special ed, Branchburg School in Newark. That's where I was brought up, and I went to school with kids that had all disabilities. But then when I went home, after I was bused home, I played with the kids on the block. I was part of the peer group. Nobody ever felt sorry for me. I was part of the group. I played baseball, football, all the sports. I did everything to different degrees. But I was always participated. And then
excuse me, how could you do that, though? How could you play football and baseball if you were crippled?
Well, first of all, we have to talk on this term crippled. Well, well, because what it is that's how the viewers perceive, no matter what they say, crippled, disabled, handicapped, and these terminologies are very negative, and that's another reason why people who have a disability are perceived in a negative way. But getting back to your question.
Right. What was the question? No, I'm kidding. Well, what I just was asking.
Oh, yeah, how do you play football?
You play the games, yeah.
All right, I can catch. I can throw the ball.
So would you be a catcher? Is that what?
I could be a pitcher. It's different degrees. You see, you look at somebody with a disability. See, society has this attitude that if you have a disability, then you have to sit on the sideline, that you don't participate.
Right.
But there are different degrees what you can do.
Of course.
I mean, baseball, I'm a great crutch hitter.
What? I guess one of the things I want to get to is just as I asked Peg, like, you know, when he came out on the stage with the Peg leg.
It's degrees. You find out what you can do. When I was in a wheelchair, I played football in a wheelchair. That's even easier because you're sitting down and you throw the ball, catch it, and you even have a bigger pocket to catch it. I mean, you're sitting down.
When you come out on the stage as a comedian, how do you try to diffuse the reaction that some people have when they see a person on a wheelchair? They see a person on crutches. They don't want to deal with it because they feel sorry for it. Well,
there's a reason for this. Yeah. Unfortunately, most of the programming that we see on television deals with very negative programming. Telethons, I feel, are very negative, and you feel sorry for the people. So when they see me on a telethon, when they see somebody...
Hold it. You're on the screen now. I think we should widen out and show the shot so you can see what you look like on stage in crutches. Okay. Sorry to interrupt you. Okay. Good. There we are. That's what we want to show. Go ahead. So there you are. How do you diffuse that?
Okay, so I know in the back of their minds they're saying, you know, what's this guy doing here?
Right.
We're supposed to give him money. We're supposed to feel sorry. So that's what I have to cope with. So
how do you get that out of the way?
Okay, well, that's what we do right away. As you notice, I perform in a tuxedo, and those crutches are European-style crutches. I had to get them from out of the country. Unfortunately, the people who make orthopedic equipment, they just make them one standard thing, and they don't have different things, like I was telling you before. You start playing, you play tennis in the morning, you got your tennis shoes, then you go out to dinner and you have your other shoes. Yeah. They only make one set of crutches, so So I have to find different
aluminum,
things.
Right? Yeah.
Wood or aluminum. Matter of fact, I do a clown act, and I paint one pair of crutches yellow and one blue with horns and everything.
Right.
All right, so the moment I'm on stage, they have all this in their mind. So my opening line is, I'm the Pope's first miracle. I went to see him with a speech impediment, and he cured me. So what I'm telling them is, say, I can handle myself. And then I say, I've got CP, cute penis. We can say that on the air. But I'm telling them that I can handle myself. This is a person that can do this. And if you meet me halfway. Now, some people, if they're uptight and they're not going to enjoy it. You can't please everybody. But if they meet me halfway, they're going to enjoy themselves.
Is most of your act as a comedian based on making fun of your disability?
Well, I deal with it. I consider myself a black comic. I'm not black, but I do what the black comics did. They talk about their blackness to try to get it out in the open. See, we have this attitude in society where you can't laugh at anybody with a disability. You see a disability, we're going to feel sorry.
Yeah.
And it's very unhealthy. People want to laugh at somebody with a disability, not because they have a disability. I mean, personally, see, when I see you, Bill, I started laughing when I came into the studio because people who don't walk on crutches, I started laughing. You walk funny. So that's my perspective.
Right. It's a very healthy perspective. What have you done over the years? I mean, it's coming at you since age 4 to deal with, why did this happen to me? Why me?
Well, I once felt sorry for myself. I started crying. It was snowing. I lived in Newark at the time. I was looking outside. It was snowing. People were sleigh riding. I must have been 7 or 8. And I started crying. So after I stopped crying, I got dressed, went down the stairs. Now, at that time, I had 2 crutches, 2 braces, so I'd had to plop down the stairs. That was my mobility. I got on the sleigh, and my brother took me down sleigh riding. So that was the last time I felt sorry for myself, that I cried about it. Plus, I was in school with people who had worse disabilities.
In the special school
In the
that you
special,
went to?
the special ed school.
I think that's probably is part of the message of what we're talking about, right, Peg?
Yes, definitely.
Is
the main thing that I can see with him is you have to find your own way. Yes, other people see you doing something with a supposed handicap. They don't realize that they are not doing something the way that you would do it. They suppose handicap do it the way that they would do it.
I think that one of the problems that the handicapped people have in this perception area is that people look at them and there is a fear factor as if this could happen to them. And they don't want to confront it. You know what I mean?
Yes, it could.
Also, the media. I have to get back to the media.
Yeah, go.
People, when they see something on television, if you're not on television, you don't exist. And the only time a disabled person is on television, the majority of the time is on telethons. Telethons are negative. All right, it's good that they're raising money.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like all these situation comedies, there are very, very, very few, if any. I'm trying to think of any. There's a very short guy on Taxi, right?
Yeah.
Midget, but there's almost no presence of a handicapped person.
And they should have it there.
Because it's
there's
part
plenty
of life.
of funny things. There's, what, 36 million people with disabilities, various disabilities. People get older, so there's always going to be some sort of disability.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's just stay together here. I want to bring out the next guest. Now, this is a woman who has had 4 major operations, and I think the decision to have these operations and face them represents tremendous guts. I mean, real courage. We're going to meet her right after this. Okay, when we were on this commercial break, we were lucky. We didn't have to watch the commercials. We could sit here and talk. You were just starting to talk about something. I said, no, hold it in. This is something that was written in Washington about perception again.
Perception, how, especially in the media, getting back. I am in the media. I intend to make a living in the media. I got into, just a side note, the reason I'm in comedy is because as an actor, I wasn't getting enough roles. So at least the comedy gives me my platform, and I don't have to wait for a play or anything.
Did you get any roles?
A big part, like I was in big movies and had little roles. I was an Unmarried Woman, Tribute. You have to look for me, but I don't take those parts anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I do it. Okay, but anyway.
Back to the thing that was published down in Washington.
A disabled person is viewed either pity, sorrow, or they're courageous, inspirational, and there's extremes. You never see a person who has a disability living or doing things in an everyday situation. You have somebody, they make a big thing. We had this show about somebody flying a plane. So what they're saying to the children is say, well, we'll accept you if you can fly a plane, which is a Superman thing. They're just making people into Superman, or a little bit of inconvenience. The guy was a skier. So every time, the only way we're going to accept somebody with a disability is if they do something more than what they're supposed to do, whereas you never see anybody who happens to have a disability. They just focus on the disability, not the person, and the disability is the sideline.
Right.
I'm an actor in a comic who has a disability. I'm not a disabled comic. Who wants a disabled comic?
Mm-hmm. So, well, that's well put. The general messages to people who are in the category of perceiving handicapped people in the way that Henry described.
I agree wholeheartedly with Henry. What I have found is if you feel sorry for yourself, other people will feel sorry for you.
Right, they feel it.
Right. This is what I have found.
Very good point.
So what I am saying, that turn pity into courage. This is what I am saying. And there is a way to do that. It's left entirely up to the individual. If you feel that you are handicapped, then you are handicapped. If you sit around and feel sorry for yourself, someone else is going to feel sorry for you. But if you have the general attitude, well, the heck with it, I'm this way, so I'm going to find something to do with myself. I'm going to accept myself, and I'm going to see to it that everyone else accepts me.
All right. I once said something on this program, I only mentioned this sentence one time, and I got about 4 or 5 letters from people saying it. I want to repeat it now because it's related exactly to what Peg Leg Bass just said. You are very powerful, provided you know how powerful you are.
Very true. Very true. You got to know yourself. Know yourself. Therefore, when you know yourself, you know where you're going, or at least you know where you're going to start. And you just pray to God and have courage in yourself, and what you do from there is left entirely up to you, not to anybody else, but to you.
Also, what you have to maximize what you have. 2 years ago, I appeared at the Garden, Madison Square Garden, at the horse show. Now, I always wanted to ride. I'm an athletic type person. So, but the first time I got on a horse, I said to myself, I'm not going to be able to do this. Everybody said you have to hold on with your legs and everything, and I go riding in Somerset, the Somerset Hills Riders Club with Octavia Brown. She's the director there. And I just continued on and on. I never, let's see how far I can go. And now I can take a horse and go on the trails and everything else. But another point...
We're going to get a shot of this before you start on your other point, because I don't want the horse coming in last here. Okay. All right, here you are on the horse, and right next to this, to the right, Ray, is how you mount the horse.
Right. Vault onto the horse.
Using what?
Using one crutch. One crutch. My one hand's on the crutch.
You ever miss?
No.
Just fly over on the other side?
I maximize. It's like when I walk stairs, I don't fall down. It's like somebody who recently breaks a leg. They say, you want to race? I said, I'm a professional. See, I know wherever. Matter of fact, funny thing, in college, went to City Post College, it was snowing, and everybody was falling around me except me. And I was wondering, why aren't I slipping? And then it dawned on me, see, when I walk, it's an obstacle course. So I'm constantly looking. Yeah. Now, another point, point what I was going to make, I feel uncomfortable in front of some handicapped people. I do not feel uncomfortable with Peg Leg, and I don't feel uncomfortable with Joanne.
Well, that's a statement.
Because they're positive people. Yeah. But a lot of disabled people, I feel uncomfortable with. So you can feel it. You can feel it.
How do you deal with that, though? I mean,
you have to believe in yourself, and like if somebody said, we have a cure for you, Henry, you don't have to use crutches anymore. I said, that's nice. But I'm not going to say, oh, give it to me, I need it, I need it. I accept myself, and I enjoy life, and I live life to the fullest.
Yeah. I think being forced into a position where you have such a difficulty forces you to recognize that you have to accept yourself.
Two things happen. Yeah. When adversity strikes, you either get stronger or you get weaker. You never stay the same.
You're welcome. We'll be right back.